how to turn cold coaching leads into high-ticket coaching clients who are giving you money, ideally in 48 hours or less. It's 2 days. Can that happen? It can if you have the right strategy. So here's what most coaches do. What they do is they want to obviously turn a cold lead into a qualified client as fast as possible. And so they will usually run an ad, send them straight to a calendar, to book a call, or to a sales page that says, hey, I'm going to do all this amazing stuff and help you with it. Book a call. They book a call and then they don't show up, or when they do, they're not qualified, or it's just a total mess and nothing happens, okay? So how do we turn these people who have never heard from you or about you or know anything about you into coaching clients in 2 days or less? Here's how. The first thing we need to do is we need to have a proper funnel to do it for you, okay? Because this whole business of taking somebody from an ad straight to a call, it doesn't work, okay? It might if they all know who you are, like you're targeting your followers or something like that on Instagram or what have you. But if you're trying to get the keyword cold leads who don't know who you are, you need to have a funnel. What is a funnel? So we need to have some steps. They need to give us an email address, take us to something that builds a relationship, then gets them on a calendar. Okay, so that's the first step. Now, I'm going to explain to you what I think is the best strategy in a minute, but what you need to really remember is cold to basically becoming a client without this doesn't work. What's the second step? We need to have something that has the highest consumption rate possible. Okay, now, what am I talking about? Here's the problem. When somebody comes off an ad, let's say a Facebook ad, for example, and gives you an email address, what a lot of coaches do is they will give them like something easy, like an ebook, something to download. So they register and they get this PDF document. It's a 50-page ebook that you normally sell on Amazon for $8 and give it to you for free. Here's the problem with that. How many of those people are actually going to download that thing, open it, read through it, and like go all the way and wanna like work with you? Like maybe 2, 3, 5%. It's a lot of work, right? And so you're creating a barrier. So you might take them from the email, register them, they download this book, but on that page is a book a call button. A lot of them will just skip over and download the thing and be like, yeah, I'll get to that, and they book a call. They're totally unqualified. The likelihood of they're going to buy is extremely low. So what we want to do is get something that has a high consumption rate. Well, what would something be better? Well, you could take them to a video, but that doesn't have a real high consumption rate either. It's called a video sales letter. And it's like maybe 15, 20 minutes, talks about what you're going to do, how you can help them. The problem with video sales letters or a video is when you redirect them to it, so they give you their name and email address, you redirect them to it, the consumption rate on that video in a lot of cases is 20, 30% at best, because they can pause it, they can bookmark it, they can come back to it, they can scroll through it. There's all kinds of things they can do. So it's like, well, what do we do with them? Okay, now that's the next thing here is what do we do next? Well, I believe, and from my experience, I've run about 30 plus 33,000 people through a webinar, okay? And we automate it, and my show up rate for my webinar that I've run various versions of them, is about 70%. 70% actually show up on average. So what's the best thing? It would be to get something that has the highest show up rate, which is obviously a webinar. So why does it have a high show up rate? Because it adds more value, and because of the technology, it's like you have to show up, you have to watch it, you can't leave. It's not like a pause type situation. And also you can talk longer and have a longer presentation. if you give people a free webinar and it's like 8 minutes, people are gonna be like, what was that? I got no value out of this. This is like 8 minutes. But you can have a 50-minute webinar and people get a lot more value and they're willing to stay because they're learning and stuff like that. So what I recommend and what I use, and I've found it to be the most effective way for consumption rate and to build a relationship, is that webinar. So we're going to take them from the ad, register for a webinar. That's automated. That starts every 15 minutes or so and gives them a really good presentation, and then they're going to book a call. This I find is the best way. Now, it might cost you more to get an email address, but what's better? Pay a little more to get a lead that has a 70% consumption rate, or pay less to get an email lead for your ebook that has a 5% consumption rate. See what I mean? It doesn't make any sense because the cost to get a book call doesn't matter. It's like, well, who showed up and did they buy? Now, the third thing we need to do, and this is very important, this is where most coaches screwed up. You can do the first two things properly, have this thing going, but if you do the third thing wrong, nothing will work. Now, before I get to that, I need you to hit the like button here so that I know you like this video, so that what I can do is get you more of them like it. I'll know you like that. Second thing, hit the subscribe button. Once you hit that subscribe button, what that does is it's going to allow you to get all the videos that we have coming in development and all the new videos, because I spend, roughly $1 million a year-ish, give or take, on Facebook ads. I spent about $2.8 million in the last 2 years or so, 3 years, something like that. Quite a bit. And I take what I've learned and I teach it over here on YouTube for free. So you get to learn what's working in the coaching industry, what's not working, mistakes I've been making. And I've coached a lot of clients so that you get to hear what we've been doing with them, what's working. And it's going to help you a ton. And hopefully, one of the videos might be the exact thing you need to get your business to the next level. But you're only going to know about it if you're subscribed. So hit the subscribe button. All right. Number 3, you have to have a way to build a relationship with people before they talk to you and after the funnel, okay? Or after the event, whatever it is. Let's say you have a webinar. So what most coaches will do is they'll be like, hey, book a call. And so people book a call for, like, say the next day, all right? Say it's a Monday. People book a call for Tuesday. Well, in between that time, you need to have a mechanism that accelerates your relationship with that person to a place where they feel like, oh my gosh, I've known this person forever. This is amazing. I want to work with them. And they'll show up at a higher rate. So the problem is, if you don't do that, what's going to happen is they're just going to book a call and no show. Okay? And that brings us to the second point. You really want to make sure that call is not scheduled any further out than 2 business days. If it's a Friday, don't allow it to go any more than about Monday. If it's a Sunday, don't allow it any more to go than about Tuesday. If it's a Monday, Wednesday max. Ideally 24 hours. And so that's why the whole 48-hour thing is so important here. It's because you want them to register, watch the webinar, book a call, go through the pre-call training that you have, and be on the call talking to you within ideally 24 hours, maximum 48 hours. Because if it goes any further out, people don't know their schedule. If they watch your thing on a Monday and you let them book a call on a Friday, who knows what's going to happen? They book at 2 o'clock on a Friday and then they find out they got some kids thing that they got to go to, or they have to go to a doctor's appointment that opened up and they can get them in sooner, or some appointment for this, or a work appointment, or this. There's so many variables. Also, they're no longer in the top of the mind with you. They watched the webinar on Monday, and then they sort of forgot about you, watch your stuff on Wednesday, and they're like, oh, who's that person again? Oh, yeah, I think I got that call. And then they're just not as motivated. They get busy, and they sort of forget about it, and the desire starts dropping off. And so it makes no sense to do it that way. Do not give people huge time slots because it doesn't help anybody. Everybody loses when you give people too much time. Next day or day later, so that you protect your show rates. And it sucks for you. You book calls 5 days out. It's Monday, and you're like, wow, I got 5 calls on Friday coming up. People want to work with me. You get to Friday, 4 of them no-show and 1 of them cancels. It's like, that sucks. And he wasted all that money versus next day or the day after. All right, so this is the strategy I've found effective in turning cold leads into high-ticket coaching clients within about 48 hours or less. Business day, right? Because you do this on Friday, you're not going to get them on until Sunday unless you work on the weekends, and that's totally fine too. So, last thing I need you to do, in the description or in the pinned post, there's a link to an upcoming webinar I have that's going to show you the simple 300-word ad strategy that I use to attract coaching clients for my business and the secrets I've learned and the mistakes I've made in spending over $2.8 million over the last few years in trying to get coaching clients. What's working, what's not working, the things that gurus are telling you that are not working, and what you should be doing. So hit that link and we'll see you over on the webinar.